Welcome to my podcast. I'm your host Sajjaad, and in today's video, we're going to be talking to Nina of Nani Lemons on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, in which she has a combined following of about 500,000 people. She's going to be talking about her experiences of working as a software engineer in big tech companies like Hulu and Google. She's also going to be sharing her salary with us, so stay tuned for that. Also, she's going to share some sensitive yet important things about some struggles she's faced being a woman in software engineering. And also, we have a segment in which me and her are going to be roasting and reviewing a resume that you guys submitted to me on TikTok. And so I'm really excited for this video, and without further ado, let's get started right away. Hey Nina, thank you so much for joining us on today's video. I'm really excited because you come in with a wealth of experience as well as knowledge in terms of just your background as not only a person who's been in the software engineering field for a while now, but also as like a pretty big content creator in this area. So first of all, thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well today.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so I guess I want to get started right away into your background. How did you actually get into computer science, software engineering, this tech field as a whole?
Yeah, if I'm being completely honest, I went into college with full intent of becoming a doctor.
Oh.
And in the United States, before you go into med school, you have to go to pre-med, right? So I actually entered college into the engineering school as a biomedical engineer. My train of thought was, I'm going to go get a degree in engineering so that I can have a backup in case med school rejects me. But then like freshman year, I went to my first career fair, kind of stumbled in on it, to be honest. And I realized that no one's looking for biomedical engineering. So if I graduate with a biomedical engineering degree and then get rejected by med school, I'm done. Got no job. I'm going to be homeless and just be done in life. So I realized during that career fair, everyone was looking for computer sciences. Like everyone was looking for software engineers, and software engineering at that time, which was around I graduated 2018. So that was around like 2014, 2015. That was the big boom. Everyone wanted it. FAANG was just popping off. So I switched the next day to computer science.
The next day, wow.
Yeah. The next day I went to the school website and I switched to computer science engineering. And then that's pretty much it. I continued doing pre-med and computer science together, but eventually just stuck with computer science because I realized that I don't want to go into $500,000 of school debt.
Wow. I love how direct you are with like, I'm going to end up homeless if I don't get this job. You know, it's,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, no money, no job, you know?
Yeah, for real. And I loved it.
No house, no food.
I love the TikTok you made on it. You were talking about like getting rejected, like dental school, all that stuff. And then how you ultimately decided to become a software engineer. And you ended up doing pretty well for yourself considering you're at Google now, right?
Thank you. Yeah. So currently I work on YouTube. So that's the platform that either you're watching this on or like, you know, it's clipped. So you're probably watching this on Reels or TikTok, but I work on YouTube.
Cool. And I guess wanted to get right into the next question is, what is it like working at Google? And also before Google, where did you work at? And what was your salary progression as you got there?
So when I first graduated from college, I started out with a nonprofit company that was in the same city that my college was in, which was Ann Arbor, because I graduated from University of Michigan. And at that time, I was making $80,000 a year, which comparatively to a lot of people who just fresh grad out of school and then go into FAANG is like what they make $200K, something like that total. So that it wasn't a lot, right? But looking back on it from my life experiences now, that was actually quite a lot given the cost of living of Ann Arbor comparatively to San Francisco.
And that was also 2019, right? 2018?
That was 2018, yeah.
Okay.
Summer 2018, yeah. And then I stayed there for a year and a half. And after a year, I got a promotion. And it was during my promotion that I realized that I wanted to leave the company because they gave me a 4% raise after a promotion.
4? Oh, wow.
And I was, it was a 4% raise. And I went from 80,000 to 85,000. And I was like, bye. So I basically like said that I was going to start applying for the West Coasts. And, you know, I had this idea in mind that in the West Coast, I'm going to make more money. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to make 6 figures. So I applied to a bunch of companies. I interviewed with like Amazon, Facebook, and then Hulu. And in the end, I got Hulu's offer because they paid the most
dope.
from all of the companies, surprisingly, right? And that time I was making around I started out with 170K. And then after working for a while, it became 180 to 200K. And then from Hulu,
Oh, wait,
Hulu
so
got acquired.
for that,
Yeah.
that 170, 180, how much of that was base? How much was stocks, bonuses?
Oh, around 140 to 150 was base, and the rest were bonuses. There was no stock because Hulu is not a public traded company. So yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
And then afterwards, Hulu got acquired by Disney, and they gave me a promotion in title. But they lowered my pay.
Yeah.
So now I was like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And then I basically set out a half-year plan for myself because I haven't grinded lead code in so long. And that's basically the need to have for interviews these days. So gave myself 6 months of time, grinded lead code, interviewed, applied for a bunch of companies, and eventually landed at Google.
Oh.
So I currently make around 230, 40 to 250. It depends on the stock days.
It fluctuates.
The stock has been bouncing. Yeah.
But I mean, that's really awesome to hear because within about 4 or 5 years, you quadrupled your salary or almost quadrupled your salary starting from 80K. Now you're at the 240, 250K, and it can increase depending on the Google stock, and Google stock is generally pretty good, right? That's really awesome to hear. I think that's really motivational because I tell a lot of my audience, it doesn't really matter about where you specifically start out, because if you have the right skills, if you do your hard work, you'll eventually be able to get to the level where you're making good money, whether you start with it or not. And you're a prime example of that.
Thanks. I think one big thing that a lot of people, so a lot of people might be seeing my salary progression, but I think the biggest progression, it doesn't matter. If I started at 80K and I ended up at 250, if I moved to California before COVID hit, I would have been screwed. Majorly screwed financially. It doesn't matter if I went from 85K to 180 at the time. If I went back and did the calculations, I would be making pretty much the same standard of living and having less money being able to be saved just because of cost of living.
Oh, interesting.
So I hope this is just I guess to any of the viewers that are looking at salary progression and thinking wow, that's so cool. If you ever go on Blind or anything like that and see that, first thing that should pop into your head should not be, I wish, but rather you have to take into account of cost of living. Because once I've been in the industry for 5 years and I've met people that are at my salary or higher and they're living in a higher cost of living city.
Yeah.
And they're living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, shoot.
No joke.
Wow.
So make sure to take that into account whenever you're looking at a TC package or for a job or anything like that.
Yeah, that's really, really good advice right there. But I want to go back into your Google experience. What are some perks you enjoy while working at Google as a software engineer?
Honestly, my biggest perk is them allowing me to work remotely. So in all honesty, any of the in-office perks, I personally don't really get to enjoy much because I'm remote.
Okay.
But that's definitely the biggest perk. I would not be financially where I am, nor enjoying my life nearly as much if I was forced to relocate.
I see. So I guess given that you're a remote employee, what's a typical day in the life for you?
So I live in the Eastern time zone, but I work in the Pacific time zone. So that basically means I work from noon all the way till 8, 9 p.m. So I try my best to wake up as early as I possibly could, right? Well, software engineers, I'm a night owl. So sometimes my sleep schedule gets completely messed up. That's okay. I try my best to wake up at I'm gonna get hate for this. I try my best to wake up at an early 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
I'm gonna get so much hate. People are gonna be like, she thinks 10 a.m. is early, but think about it this way. Pacific time, that's 7 a.m.
Oh yeah, so you are early.
Okay.
Yeah, in that regard.
Yeah. And typically after I get off work, which is at 9 p.m., I'll do 3 hours of just making content and then
Wow.
I finally get my own life. I'll play a game or two or whatever, watch a show or something, and then I'll sleep at like 3 a.m. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So that's why, 10 a.m. just right.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, like you're waking up at 10 a.m., you're doing work, not only like for Google, but also like making content, and you're doing pretty well in both. So, I mean, I think it's working out for you. So who cares if it's 10 a.m. People call that late. What's your favorite part about working at Google, other than the fact that it's remote?
Probably the fact that I actually use the products that I work on. I have been a fan of YouTube for decades now. Like I grew up watching YouTubers, and I always had a dream before that dream got smashed by my Asian parents that I was going to become an actor and go on make YouTube videos and et cetera, et cetera. And then med school dream kind of got smushed in there instead. But now it's so nice to be able to say that I actually work on YouTube. Like I actually work on something that I always enjoyed using or watching. Yeah, that's probably the biggest.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I guess what are your experiences? I think you're also a remote software engineer, right?
Yeah. So I've been working remote pretty much for the last 1.5 years, ever since graduating college. My team is based out in the West Coast and I'm here on the East Coast. And I don't really work Pacific hours. I don't work Eastern hours. I kind of work a mix of like Central Mountain Time. So like anywhere between the hours of like, let's just say 10:30, 11, and then I'm able to sign off like the 6:37 mark. So you get a little bit of your morning, you get a little bit of the evening. And I found that to be like a pretty good balance. And my team is like really understanding. They don't do like late evening meetings. They don't like do anything pretty bad. And I also get to sleep in, you never really have to wake up like before 10, like you were saying. So I really love it. And honestly, like I couldn't think of it any other way, because I just get the convenience of anytime I want to go out, go to the gym, go grab lunch with someone. Like as long as I don't miss any of my meetings and I do all my work, it's fun. I think it's literally like the biggest perk of working in the tech field, right? The ability to work remote. Yeah,
pretty much. So how did you decide where you were going to locate, given that you can be anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, so I grew up in like the East Coast. Like I'm located in the like DC metro area. I grew up here and I just decided to like move back home after graduating, because what's the point of like living out in the Bay Area when I don't have to paying like $2,000 a month in rent and like
it's so much more than 2,000 now.
Yeah, literally just like wasting money, especially if you're going to work remotely anyways. Might as well save and invest, So
yeah, if there is one tip that I could give you, because I feel like I have 4 more years experience in the workforce. Yeah, somewhere around there.
You're much older than me.
I'm old. Now, if I had one like advice for you, keep doing remote for as long as you can. Stay remote for as long as you can, and travel as much as you can. Not in the sense of travel to have, or you should travel to have fun, but travel to figure out where you want to be location wise. I did road trips all across America, and to go to just different cities and just experience what it would be like living in the city, not going to the cities to see the monuments or something like that, but the experience living in the city. And eventually I landed where I am in today because I really like this place and I saw myself being able to live here for a long time. I also saw the financial benefits because I think the housing market in my area has a lot of potential, but that's another story.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly the perk of working remotely. So like this like last year, I visited Atlanta, I visited Austin, I visited New York, New Jersey. Like, so I've been around a couple places. Obviously I want to do like a little more while remote work is still a thing for me. So I'm definitely going to try to kind of travel around a little more, because all you have to do is like take your laptop and you can go anywhere, right?
Do you have any particular cities that you're really interested in thinking about living in for a long term?
Living in long term, I guess, like while I'm still young. Maybe Chicago. I think that would be really cool. I visited Chicago once. It was really awesome. Seattle, temporarily. I think only like during the summer months is it good.
Yeah, I agree.
but other than that, like ideally, like it should be like in some area where there's like tech companies or like people. I don't want to work in like a non-tech environment at all, you know? But yeah, how about you? What's your thoughts in where you're trying to go?
Well, I've already decided. So I'm in Florida, and my first train of thought is I want to be in the states where there's no income tax or the income tax is lower. When I was younger, I think when I was around your age, I really wanted to go to San Francisco, New York, Seattle.
Yeah.
The big like tech cities, you know? And I think that was when I felt like I needed to get to know more people. And I felt like if I was in the area, I could get to know more people. And it was when I started doing more content creation that I kind of started to realize that it doesn't matter where you are located. You can like get to know people, you can socialize with people, and like you can connect with people remotely. And like that idea didn't really like settle in until I started gaining followers. And okay, I'm gonna have like people are gonna say like, well, it's because you had followers that people started reaching out. Yes, but also like I gained a lot of friends just from being out there on the internet and being able to remotely connect with people. So that's the other thing. And
I mean,
eventually
that's how we connected, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I saw, your friend commented on my Instagram post, like right when I posted, like they added you. And I was like, someone added someone to collab with me. Wow. And I was
really?
like, okay.
Oh, wait. I didn't even see, I didn't see that one. Oh, okay. I didn't even know about that.
Someone added you to collab with me. And I normally like the first 10 minutes that I post something, I'll like keep on looking through my comments, just like a reply and see initial feedback and things like that. And I saw your friend's comment and I was like, okay, I'll keep an eye out on my inbox. And then like, I think it was like 20 or 30 minutes after I posted, like I saw your message and I was like, wow. Oh, okay.
That's cool. That's cool.
He's got a good system. He's got a friend that adds him and then he comments in my videos. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I guess I wanted to take the conversation a little back towards like the working as a software engineer in the tech field. So I've seen like some comments, some videos, some posts about like being a woman working in STEM, sometimes feeling left out or feeling like a minority in a class of just like boys, or I've seen a lot of like funny things of like girls like going into computer science classes and be like, oh, it smells so bad. It's so bad here. And all those like things. What's been your experience as like a woman in STEM, and like, I guess, do you have any advice for potential like other women here?
I'm gonna just say the BO thing, it's not a rumor, it's real. I swear to God that because I did pre-med too, right? So it wasn't just like, it wasn't like everyone in college had those days and they all had BO. No, it was specifically to my computer science class. Because like pre-med is sweaty as fudge. Everyone's competing for that 4.0 GPA. Everyone's like looking to pull you down. You know, that's the difference between pre-med and computer science. Yeah. Engineering school, everyone like works together because we're all going to fail anyways. But pre-med is like everyone's sweaty against each other. But I don't know why. Just like the computer science classes, there's always like super strong BOs. I think it's mainly because like we would do, like I had a tendency to pull all-nighters just to finish a project on time. And I had a lot of classmates that would just do that on the regular. But instead of like, you know, you pull an all-nighter, you refresh yourself with a shower. I think they just don't.
Or like the funniest thing I've seen is like computer science majors make $200,000 a year, but still can't afford deodorant.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like I still don't have a bed frame. I sleep on the floor. But my setup, like my work setup, everything, this cost me $2,000 probably.
No, what?
Yeah, I had a really nice PC, a really nice monitor. Like I put money into my setup because I'm going to be here 12 hours a day anyways. Yeah. Might as well make it nice. What was I But back to like women in computer science though, like
Yeah.
no matter what, you're going to have experience on fairness. Like that's just life. That's just how it is. And unfortunately, like we are the minority in computer science. That's just the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
But I think like the biggest thing that if any like younger women are coming into tech, like my biggest advice for them from my experiences would be like acknowledge that there is going to be biases against you and sometimes even for you. There's just going to be unfairness. That's just how it is. But never use that as an excuse to not do something or like not to pursue something. I think that was the biggest thing that helped me going to tech and going through tech and going into this career. Because it was constantly people telling me that you're the minority. People are going to judge you because you're a woman. And people did sometimes. But if I heard that constantly and thought, oh, well, why would I go into a career where I'm going to be judged, where I'm going to be the minority, where I can't go into pre-med, where like I'm not going to be the minority. I can be like the 50% or something like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think there's more women than men in pre-med. I'm not too sure on the statistics, but there was definitely the ratios were definitely better in my pre-med classes.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have like any experiences like of, I don't know, like being judged or like how you overcame like a challenge?
Oh yeah, the biggest one that I can list was my first job. Remember how I said I got a promotion and they gave me a 5% raise? Yeah, I went to my boss and I was telling him that I want a proper raise for my promotion. And I wanted to ask, like, is it possible that because I did see women in the company and I asked for their salary and I saw them getting paid less than the men. But they worked the same years of experience and they worked on the same product and they were all like very important products.
Yeah.
And I talked to him about it, just like, is it possible that there could be this pay difference? I don't even know if that could exist. Like imagine a fresh out of college kid like asking that question to their manager. It's terrifying.
Yeah, for sure.
And instead of like replying with, there's a definite no, here's the statistics of our company, we would never have a pay discrepancy. He went onto the internet, researched for a paper study that said that women get paid less for the same job, and then forwarded that paper to me. And then he was like, I think you're onto something. And then that's it. That's all that he did for me. And I was like, so am I going to get a proper raise for this promotion? Like, are you going to work towards getting better pay for my female colleagues? And no, that was it. So then that was
just
also
end of conversation. Nothing.
Yeah, that was just pretty much. It was like, I think you're right, and I was like, okay, so what do you want me to do with like the study? Like, are you gonna do something about it? And then I realized like he's not gonna do anything about it. So I was like, bye. Went to Hulu.
So what was the biggest takeaway from there?
Acknowledge that there's gonna be differences, biases towards you as a woman in tech, but never use it as an excuse. And if your boss don't give you the raise that he's supposed to, then, you got to figure it out on your own.
All right, so moving on to the next segment of the video. So I don't know if you know, but I do a lot of resume reviews on my Instagram and TikTok. And actually one of the submissions I got is this resume right here. Let's put it up on the screen. And so as a full-time software engineer who's been in the industry for about like 5 years now, could you give us your opinion on this? What are some mistakes that you see right off the bat?
So right off the bat, I see that they did a whole paragraph in the very beginning that basically talks about every single class that they've taken. So what I would suggest is if you have a particular role that you're applying for, figure out what skill sets that they're looking for and basically list the classes that are actually make sense to that particular role. You don't have to list every single class. Another thing is, I'm sure like they probably changed this to make it anonymous, right? I'm assuming because they put artificial intelligence intern rather than the company's names intern.
They didn't. Okay, so you're being a little too nice here. Let me I like to. I actually like on TikTok. I have a whole playlist that's called resume roasting playlist, and they know that they're being roasted on this. So let me just say straight up, you should not have a whole paragraph to talk about all the courses you took. Maybe like 1-2 bullet point like line max, and also you don't have a slot for like what company you worked at. So what did you actually do? And also don't list your responsibilities included as like just like things, but actually say like what you did. Like, for example, you say developed a specialized tool. That's the, like, it needs to be an actionable verb, like the XYZ format, ideally. Like you did X by using Y to achieve Z. Anyways, continue. Sorry, I had to interrupt.
Yeah, go for it. I was gonna say, so like when you're creating a resume, you should think about who's going to be reading it, right? So there's two scenarios when you're looking for a job. There's a scenario where your resume is going to be looked at directly by the engineer that's on the team as they're looking for the next intern or like the next full-time employee. If you know that that's the case, write it technically, like very technical. You should write exactly like what tools you work with, what languages you use to code, things like that. Make it as technical as you can. But if you're going to be applying just generally on LinkedIn, most likely if it's a big company, it's gonna be a recruiter that's reading a resume, right? In that case, they're gonna be looking for specific words that exist on your resume, like JavaScript, Java, and things like that. So keep that in mind. Like think about it less in terms of like a robot looking at your resume and giving it a grade, and more of like from a human perspective, right? Because there's gonna be a human that's gonna be looking at your resume. Think about what that human, their background, and what would they be looking for in your resume, rather than like I need to put all the bullet points for like from their position opening, what their requirements are, etc., things like that.
Yeah, I really like how you mentioned that, because at the end of the day, it is a human who's reviewing it, not just the recruiter, but also the hiring manager and like potential other people who might be interviewing you, who are at the end of the day humans. They actually want to see like what you've done. It's not just like a system to see like what skills you have. Like that's like part of it. Obviously, there's like what we call like the ATS, the application tracking system, that like has like some of the things to see like if your skill set matches. But overall, it's a human that's reading it. And also, for the record, guys, Nina, before we started recording this segment, said that this is one of the worst resumes she's seen. Just wanting to put that out there.
Sorry, dude. It was bad. Just it's okay. You can only go up from here, right? That's the silver lining. You can only get better.
I mean, so continue. So like, what are like specifically for this resume? If this was your resume, what would you do to improve it?
Okay, so the biggest thing is you have to think about it from the person that's going to look at it. If I'm a person that's recruiting, which I've gone through the situation for other companies where I'm basically looking through a list of resumes and picking out the top 5, and then filtering from the top 5 to like top 3 that we're going to interview. So each resume, because I have my time very limited as well as an employee, each resume is going to get about like 5 minutes top for me reading it. So within that 5 minutes time, you have to figure out exactly what it is that this person has done and whether this person is a good match for the position that we have. So think about it from that perspective, and then think about like what can you write that can be like seen immediately from your resume. So for example, you have your education, you have your experience. Your education and experience, first of all, the formats are different. One is the entire paragraph and one has lists. Stick with lists, because it's easier on the eyes. I'm going to first scan and just like be able to read each bullet point really fast. Each bullet point should be something that's really like concise, that I can read like a sentence and be like, that's what that person did. Remove the paragraphs. Just don't do paragraphs at all. I'm going to look at that and immediately skip it and go on to your bullet points first and look at your bullet points. You know how under your experience, you have the artificial intelligence intern and you have your date, right? What I like to do typically is I would like to put the title or like the company name, the job, company name, the title, and then on the right side of the resume, I like to put the time. That way, like I can scan it really fast with my eyes that this is the time, this is the time, this is the time, right? Let me see. Did you put it in order? Another thing is you didn't put it in order. You did August 2023 to September 2023, and then August 2022, September 2022, and then September 2022 to October 2022. So you want to put it in order from like your most recent to your least recent position. Also, I know you probably put it in here just to like fill up the pages, but if you're going for a software engineering role, putting something like computer hardware repair technician intern, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to be completely honest with you that I'm going to look at that and be like, this person wanted to fill the pages. That's it. Like, I'd rather you put more details, technical details on your other positions that actually make sense for a position, rather than like see a thing that doesn't make sense for the position at all. Let's see. Technical. Okay, so I like that you put technical and then languages. Oh, wait, no, those are like human languages. That's not computer language. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so my suggestion is switch the languages into actual like computer languages if you're going to be looking for software engineering jobs. Technical, you could do something that's like particular toolings. For example, front end, you could be like talking about how you have React experience and things like that. I don't mind like seeing these separations there, but don't put like human languages. We're all robots in our company, so I'm just kidding. We won't understand human.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. And kind of piggybacking off of like your previous point, actually. So like, I really like all the suggestions you made, but I was getting the feel that this person was just trying to fill up the spaces. And one thing that I would say is like, if you don't have enough space, as a person who's like majoring in computer science, you probably did some projects as part of like your coursework. Put those on your resume. Do more projects. Put them on your resume. You have no project section at all. So like projects can actually somewhat like quantify as like, or look like experiences to a certain degree, but also can explain the skills section that you have. So, why don't you add that to your resume? And also like certifications, I don't know if like you need to put like necessarily a link, maybe just titling whatever certification it is. I also don't know what type of certification it is, if it's even valuable, if it's like a software engineering-esque certification. But anyways, yeah, continue. Sorry to cut you off. I'm not familiar like with what certifications IBMs provide, but I mean, like I can see values in certain positions where you have like an AWS like certification, things like that, cloud management, like that all makes sense. I second the projects thing. I think a lot of people like here's the most common question that I get actually. A lot of people that come to me say, what the heck is with all these companies? They're looking for an intern, but they're asking for an intern that already has an internship experience. And that was my experience as well back in 2015, 16, 17. So when they say like, I think after like looking back at my experience, when they say that they were looking for interns with internship experience, what they really mean is that they want people with relevant project experiences. So when they say internship, they really mean like, what have you worked on before? And that includes personal projects, well, not as much class projects, more personal projects. So when you fill out a resume and you tell yourself, I have no like internship experience, that's okay. Like, work on personal projects, fill that in, and talk about the tech that you use to create your personal projects. That's my 2 cents. Oh, and it's not often, but sometimes having leadership experiences in your resume also helps. I've seen people do well and particularly ask about like what your leadership experience is. And by leadership, I mean like if you've been the teacher assistant for a class. So I was the what were they called? GSUs? I was basically the quote unquote graduate student teacher, but I was undergrad at the time for the UI UX class at University of Michigan, and I basically put that on, and that caught the attention for a lot of the web developer positions, because they the idea that you were good enough at something to be able to help teach the class was something that they enjoyed seeing on the resume. It popped out. Yeah, for sure. And like leadership is like, it's not only like good for your resume, it's also like good talking points in like behavioral or even sometimes technical interviews, you know, just like having like that experience of like, oh, you're managing with people or like you're dealing in complex situations and you're trying to navigate it through. Like they look for those, they ask those type of questions, they target those skills. So being able to say that you're a leader is pretty impressive in that regard.
Yep. And a lot of companies, like, it's not just the technical experience that you have. They also look for teamwork experiences and abilities, right? So being able to display that on your resume as part of leadership also helps.
All right, so that was cool for the resume section, but moving on forward, I want to talk a little more general to what are your pieces of advice to 3 different types of people. First, piece of advice to a person who's a complete beginner, no coding experience whatsoever. 2, a person who's in college majoring in computer science, but maybe wants to try to get a software internship or a full-time job, but have been struggling. Or 3, a person who's completed college and is now trying to make a transition to the tech field. So those are the scenarios we're going to lay out, but let's start off with what's your piece of advice for a beginner?
So if you're a beginner, but you don't have a college degree or like you haven't gone into college yet, start looking at programs pre-college that can help you get a head start on programming. I think that was probably my biggest regret before I attended college. I never had any coding experience, which worked out fine for me in the end, but it was definitely, I was behind. I started the race behind all the people that had previous coding experiences. Like walking into intro to engineering, that was terrifying. All these people are like, oh yeah, I know what a variable is, I know what a function is, and I'm just staring at them like a math function. But so look at any like pre-college courses that you can take at your high school, or even like just watch YouTube videos. There's so many YouTube tutorials out there. YouTube, great platform.
Yeah.
10 out of 10, you know. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of really great YouTube tutorials. Making a game, like you can make a game, Godot, Unity, there's like from beginning all the way to the end tutorials. Make a game, get your head dirty into coding and just go from there. For people that are in college.
Oh, before you go on to that, I just wanted to add, like, if you're a person, like, I know some people, I get like a lot of comments that are like, I'm going tutorial after tutorial and I'm just like overloading my brain with all these tutorials. I'm not really sure where to go about it. Like you were saying, is like, make a game, do something. Like project-based learning is really good. And 2 really good platforms that I've found to be good for this, Coded.io is really good. It's like this fun game type environment to actually like you code and then you advance in the game. So you get to like apply your skills for like something that you can see materialistically. As well as this platform called Cody Tech. They also give you like bite-sized lessons, but also the ability to practice. They also have like AI assistants to like help you out. So maybe check those out if you're like in the beginning level trying to just figure out where to start coding. And also my recommendation is start with Python. But anyways, continue on.
Yeah, you can, I think you might be able to make some games with Python. Actually, I've never made a game with Python before, but I have used like Unity and Godot, so.
No, there's this library called Pygame. So you can.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like
okay.
all game stuff in Python, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, there was also like that Harvard. I've seen so many people like talk about it, but I've already graduated. Yeah, that Harvard course. I mean, check that out too. I haven't checked it out before, but I've seen a quick like summary of like the chapters of that video, and it's a pretty good breakdown. It's hours. I mean, if you're able to sit through hours of a video, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have done it, and it's been pretty worth it for people. So
it's a good like start point. Like at least you can get a good grasp on basic data structures and algorithms, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, actually, it's a little more basic than that. It's like just like understanding how to think like a programmer. They use this thing called Scratch, which is like the most basic language of them all. So I don't even know if you would consider that a programming language, you know.
I mean, it has logic. Is it like I don't know if Scratch is considered, what is it called? Something complete. I forgot. It's been so long since I've taken. Are you
talking about NP complete?
Yeah, is it NP complete?
I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
Well, like mean, people can make games with it, so like it's technically it is a language.
Okay.
But it's not often used in my industry.
Yeah, don't put it on your resume. I don't think it'll really help you.
But I mean, like if you're going to coding, I mean, game development, some people actually like use that to make like whole games.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Didn't know that. But anyways, your advice for someone now who's a college student trying to get like a software engineering internship job, hasn't been able to land anything, but they do know how to code and they do have projects under their belt.
So I'm going to be like completely transparent. The markets are horrible right now. Like it's to the state where I feel insecure about my position 24/7. I feel like I don't feel the job security nearly as much as a year and a half ago. It's giving me the feeling that if I lose my job today, I'm going to take a long time before I find my next position. That's just simply how the market is right now. That's just unfortunately the truth. So if you're still in college, let's say you're a sophomore, you still have the time to figure out what kind of skill sets the world is looking for and is in the market. Go to as many career fairs as you can, not just for applying to jobs, but to actually look at what skill sets each company is actually looking for. You can get a really good feel of what the software engineering market is like just by going through a career fair and looking at like what positions they're looking for. Take the classes that will give you the skill sets needed in order to make you desirable to a company. And not only that, but take the classes that you think will make you as a software engineer future-proof. And what I mean by that is look at where the industry is going in the next 5 years. You probably can't predict the next 10 years, but you can predict the next 5 years after you graduate, what skills are going to be the next thing that's going to blow up in software engineering, right?
What would you say is that?
Oh, that's a like pretty easy one right now. Artificial intelligence, machine learning. I mean, when I went to college, I took those classes because I thought it was going to be the big thing when I graduate, but it was a big thing 5 years after I graduated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess the best thing that you can do right now, so like you said, the market is down, things aren't good. But I mean, I think within like a month or two, things should get like a tad bit better because there's going to be spring hiring. Companies are going to open up a little more positions because like right now, holiday timing isn't the best in general. So the things you can do right now, sharpen up your resume. You can send them in to me for like a resume review or a roast here, like we just did.
And on top of that, like, don't think about this is going to sound like I came from a wealthy family, but I did not. This is simply from my own experiences and observations. Getting a job is not the only path that you have to take as a software engineer. If you really can't find anything and you need financial backing, and if you know you're good, like you know you're good, go join as many hackathons as you can. I've seen so many startups that actually just come from a school hackathon. My friend actually started his own company from his hackathon project. He won like top 3 place. Yeah, and he got funding to start his company. And so he never even looked for a job after graduating. He just worked on his own company. So that is always another path.
Whoa,
so if you want to like really if you really want to go for it, you know, like take a big risk while you're in college, go to a hackathon, make some projects that actually make sense, that people will use, that you can pitch to people, and then go talk with your school's startup programs and get them to get you connected with the VCs. Like, if I was still in college and I can't find jobs right now, what I would do is go to a hackathon and I would build a machine learning or artificial intelligence based projects that I think make sense. At the time that I was in college, I probably make something in the healthcare in regards to like helping detect cavities in your x-rays from your mouth, because there's a strong inconsistency between dentists and dentists' diagnosis of like cavities and things like that. That's actually still like a use case. So if you make that, you know, make it in school, like, and then pitch it to VCs, get them to like think that your project makes sense, is something that can make them money, they'll give you money to make that product.
Interesting. Yeah,
That's the other path I would suggest.
I always talk about like the thing you mentioned about like the hackathons, right? I always talk it from the perspective of it's like it's a great networking opportunity because a lot of like companies show up to hackathons, and not only for sponsoring the hackathons, but also for recruiting potential candidates. I know like when I went to college at Georgia Tech, companies like NCR, BlackRock, because they're like located in Atlanta, Georgia itself, they would just show up because they're our next door neighbors, and they would like recruit candidates, and people would get internships out of it. So there's also that aspect of it. Hackathons, if you're a college student, you can pursue.
Yeah. And also like there's some amazing stuff that come out of hackathon. I was a judge for a hackathon once. I also just butchered the word hackathon super bad. But I was a judge once for the Stanford hackathon. These kids legit made, this was back in 2019 or 18, something like that. This kid made a machine learning model that can detect lung cancer with a 98% accuracy.
What the? Within like 3 days of the hackathon?
Yeah, within 3 days. You just give it your chest x-ray. That's it.
Whoa.
That's how you know, like, that's how I knew at the time that I made the right choice not going to the medical industry, because I was like, yeah, a lot of those things can be replaced by AI in the future. I mean, human verification is still needed, but
yeah, for sure.
Eventually, like 10, 20 years, it's very much possible that machine learning just does all the classifications.
All right. So transitioning from someone who's from college to past college, what's your advice there to someone who wants to land in a similar position as you?
Yeah, so if you've never done coding and you want to become a software engineer, I've seen a lot of people that actually just attend boot camps and not have to go to college again to get a degree. And they do fine. I've seen people that never went to college, never had a degree, and attend boot camps and get a job afterwards. You might not start at FAANG level.
Yeah, for sure.
But you get started. And that's what honestly matters more than anything else, especially in today's market where FAANG, it's harder to get into FAANG now more than like, I'd say like in a long time. It's really hard to get into FAANG in the moment. Headcounts are just not there. So if you have that mindset that you just want a position, a boot camp can definitely work out for you.
Yeah, I think like boot camp certifications for just trying to break into the field. I know some people who, if they already, let's just say, have a bachelor's degree in something a little unrelated, they might decide to pursue their master's. I think that's a little expensive route to go about it, but it also does set yourself up better than just a boot camp because of, I mean, a college environment, the network you have, the research opportunities available, and also it like broadens your scope than just like software engineering, you know, because like if you do like a software engineering boot camp, you're probably only going to become a software engineer. But with the computer science degree, there's so many different areas you can enter into. You can enter into cyber, data science, software engineering, obviously, even like the hardware side a little bit. So I guess like if you have the funds and you have the time, potentially you could do like a master's, but if not, like boot camps and certifications is probably a route. All right, so moving on to the next part. So since graduating in 2018, how has software engineering changed, and how do you predict it to change, let's just say in the next 5 to 10 years?
So I'd say that since graduating, there's been more tools to make software engineering easier. A lot of people think that like with machine learning coming out and all these ChatGPT 4, Bard, and etc., they're going to replace all the software engineers. I don't think they're at a point where they're going to replace software engineers, and I also don't think the industry would ever think about stopping to hire junior software engineers, because essentially if you stop hiring junior software engineers, where like, yes, a lot of the ChatGPTs out there can possibly replace, you're removing all your future software engineers, senior software engineers as well. So it makes no sense from like a industry standard. I would say that in the future, software engineering is going to be easier. We've already seen that with the existence of ChatGPT this year. We've seen that with Copilot. We've seen that with Bard. I'd say that coding will be more accessible to more people rather than you will never have to just learn how to do something like coding wise from classes. You will be able to do it just from a prompt from a machine learning model. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all that I can say. I wouldn't say that there would be too big of a change where like we don't need to code anymore. Period. There's just too much tech debt in all the companies that I've been to. There's too much tech debt in order for machine learning to replace all of us. That's just not possible at the moment.
Cool. Yeah, so wanted to break into your first point of there'll always be a need for junior software engineers, and some people get confused. They're like, oh, but they have like no skills. But guess what? They come from the colleges that have like top-notch like research opportunities, top-notch education that is constantly evolving. And so if you take out your like fresh pool of talent, like your company as a whole, you might not see the effects immediately, but over time it'll start to stagnate in terms of like the trajectory of like what it could be at versus what it is at. So they always like need fresh hires, fresh talent. That's also like why internships is such a big thing for companies, you know, and it's also like a little cheaper labor, right? Considering the salary difference of a junior and a senior software engineer. But also, yeah, obviously, like in terms of like the AI and all that stuff, I feel like it's getting closer and closer to becoming more of a complement, not necessarily a substitute to software engineering. So that is a little bit relieving because a lot of questions I get is, should I major in computer science? Should I get into software engineering if ChatGPT is going to put us out of a job? It's not taking your job anytime soon. And I always ask people if AI is to the point where it's taking over software engineering jobs, there is like no job at that point that's like safe, you know? So that would be my standpoint there.
Definitely learn how to use an AI properly though, how to make it, how to use it to make yourself more efficient. At the end of the day, it's built to be another tool for us to use. So if you avoid using it, then you are going to be left behind as well.
For sure. And I guess I don't want to take too much of your time, but last question I really wanted to ask you is, what is your work setup like? You mentioned it a little earlier that you invested $2,000 into your setup, and I saw your one like TikTok video of you having like just like your mattress, but you're like, no, but I have a cool chair now. So talk to us about your setup and what thought went into it.
So my table is a standing desk, which I sit at 90% of the time.
I do the same.
Yeah. So let me break it down. So my table, I spent $700 from IKEA, but I got reimbursed from Hulu or Disney. I have a vertical monitor as well as a horizontal monitor. Vertical monitor, which I basically tell myself that it's for reading code faster because I look at code a lot and sometimes it's thousands of lines of code, and having a vertical monitor is just more like code that I can see at a time, right? At least that's what I tell myself. But most of the time I actually use it to like select music. Unfortunately, my horizontal monitor though, I basically use it as like a dual monitor because it's wide enough. It's an ultra wide curve monitor. I have a PC which I've completely decked out, but I actually don't use it for work at all. I use it for personal projects and gaming and video editing. That's it. My work all is from a MacBook Pro, which people are going to be like, but you work at Google, shouldn't be using Google Chromebooks. No. But most of the time, like software engineers actually use like Macs. Like it doesn't matter if
I do too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like Disney, Hulu, my nonprofit, they all gave MacBooks out. So we just all use MacBooks. I mean, I've even seen like Microsoft engineers use MacBooks, even though they have Windows computers. Chairs, IKEA too. A lot of my setup in terms of like the mic, the camera, lighting in the background, which you don't see because I haven't set it up yet. It's from when I was streaming. I did stream for like a year and a half on Twitch during the pandemic days because I had no life. I didn't go outside, so I might as well like have a life on the internet. Yeah, that's basically how the content creation stuff started.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And also thank you so much for being on this episode. I actually learned a lot from just like your own experience as well as like knowledge working at like various companies, being in the industry. So thank you for joining on. And I really hope that this was valuable to our audience.
And thank you for having me.
All right. Well, take care then. Bye.